Boston Celtics are up 3-1. They are one win away from 3 straight conference finals appearances, which is exactly how it feels right now. Never in doubt. Apologies if you can hear a buzzing in my background. Can you hear that?
No, I don't hear anything.
No? Excellent. There's a smoothie being made very close to me. I'm very glad you guys can't hear it. But yeah, that's a winner's smoothie. Never in doubt, Sam. Donovan Mitchell out. The boys took it seriously. How you feeling?
Knew it. As soon as I woke up today, saw they were wearing green on the road. I mean, it all starts with the equipment manager, Giannis. Nailed it on the head. I said to Jack Simone, for those of you that don't know.
I've heard of him.
Yeah. This was a really weird game. Go ahead.
Sam LaFrance, welcome. How about them Celtics podcast? Apologies for not introducing you correctly here.
It's okay.
It's a tumultuous, emotional experience, the fucking playoffs. But go on. Continue, sir.
Yeah, weird game. Because there were times in this game where I was like, wow, they are playing like the best basketball I have seen them play. And then moments where I was like, are we sure this is are they tanking? They know the lottery was yesterday, right? And they know that this is like a shit draft. What are they tanking for?
Yeah.
But no, they managed. They went 5 minutes without a field goal in the fourth quarter. Still won. Made you sweat. Good heart monitor game. This is why we play. This is why we wear the monitor. Got up to 88 beats per minute.
I was going to ask. Okay,
yeah.
is that the highest number so far?
No, playoff high was game 2 against Miami.
Okay.
That one I was none too pleased.
What was the number there?
Yeah, 108.
Oh.
I was going ballistic. I wasn't built for this yet. I had been watching them play against the Kings with Tillman hitting game winners. I wasn't ready to watch Caleb Martin make threes again.
The PTSD powerful in game 2. I don't know if you've been similar to me in that. Also, for reference, Sam's resting heart rate is like mid to high 40s. So like that's kind of absurd. So coming into this series, I was nowhere near nervous like I was for the Heat series. We lost game 2 in this series. I was nowhere near as concerned as I was after we lost game 2. I feel like I probably should have been. Like, clearly this Cleveland team is better than that Heat team. The Celtics got a fucking gift from the gods. Another one. It feels like the basketball gods are really trying to give the Celtics the best possible chance to win this title so far. You get round 1 without Jimmy Butler. Donovan Mitchell is now down. I mean, you get the Cavs or the Magic in general. Like, the Cavs tanked themselves into that spot. They should not be able to match up with you. Obviously, we're missing Porzingis, which we'll touch on. The Knicks are down to, like, barely a starting lineup, and the Pacers would be one of the softer Eastern Conference Finals teams in recent memory. And the Celtics came out tonight. They go down 8-2, turnovers, unserious defense, transition defensive issues. Mitchell was announced out. Every Celtics fan on the planet, every Celtics hater on the planet knew what this meant tonight. It was that they were going to play with their food, screw around, and luckily they didn't find out. Man, they were close to finding out though.
I ran right to my sportsbook app, whipped out the phone, fumbled it a little bit in excitement, put my insurance bet in as soon as I could.
Yeah.
I put an embarrassing amount on insurance in this game, not gonna lie to you. If they had lost, I would have won like $300. Like when they went up in the fourth, or I think when Pritchard hit the 3 to send them up 10 going into the fourth, I think I loaded up and I put in another bet because I was like, I don't know, like just kind of let them hang around. Don't love the way they've played. It stretches in this game, and I didn't trust them. And I was like, oh my God, I'm actually going to win this money. Still wasn't happy.
Yeah.
Don't make any mistake. There was a guy on Twitter that was like, you guys are shameful.
Yes.
It's like, no, you just don't understand.
Exactly. Yeah, everyone's different in how their emotions work. Like, I'm not sure what the amount of money it needs to be for me to be risking for my emotions to tilt in the direction of the money. It would need to be a lot, I think. But yeah, I posted the screenshot of like a $20 bet to win 140 for game 2. And I tagged you because we are the Celtics insurance guys. And
that's right.
A guy was like, how can you do this? If it's a close game in the fourth quarter, who are you going for? I'm like, there has not been a second in my life where I've been like, you know what? Maybe in the regular season it's crossed my mind. But in the playoffs, never going to be a thing. I'm the same as you. I loaded up before Donovan Mitchell. I did the exact same thing when we went up 10 and it was like plus 11, plus 1200, whatever it was.
Put the call in.
I put the call in. Yeah. Whiskey Tango Bravo was the code for Australia's sports books today's. And I think we were right, man. Like the execution wasn't quite as bad in the fourth quarter as it felt at times. The pace though, the fourth quarter pace and the crunch time pace is something that has plagued this team forever, essentially. And it was a massive problem tonight. I've got a video here from Noah, the Celtics beat reporter here, with Joe Mazzulla encouraging Jason Tatum to maybe go a little faster. And
this was great.
Yeah, it's like, nope. And to be fair, they actually, that's what I'm saying. They actually found some okay shots down the stretch. Al Horford, if he could have made a corner three tonight, then this game probably isn't close. And he ends the night 0 for 4 on really good looks, 2 of which were in the fourth quarter on perfect offense. If that's the way they're going to guard the Celtics, they found him, swing to the corner, and it's been a shot that he's made all season long. It's been a shot that he's made in the playoffs for his entire Celtics tenure, and he's not able to hit those shots. So the execution was not great, but it was better than it felt, I think, at the time because it wasn't going in. And then you add the pace element into it, which made it feel worse. But they did get to some okay shots. They just weren't able to knock them down.
Yeah, this was a really weird game because, I mean, even the clip you pulled up with Jalen trying to draw a foul, and
yeah, weird.
It was stupid. Probably should have just taken the jump shot that he makes almost every time. To go back to Horford, we got to a point where I was like, are we sure we want Horford in this game? Like, there were moments in this game, bear with me, that I was like, Cornet, best guy on the floor? He was dominating the glass, made Mobley look like a little kid. He was 4 or 5 from the field, had some great energy plays, had a block. I have been so pleased with him, and it was good in this game because they didn't have Mitchell trying to attack him every time. So you didn't even have like the drawback, but yet the box score says -4 for Luke, only net negative on the team. I just didn't feel that. Horford was a +6, and it felt like he was hanging on by a thread. Like, had the block that the refs didn't even believe happened because he's been so washed, even though I love him to death and I think he'll be back. I don't think he's done. I don't think he's cooked. He's 0 of 10 from 3 in the last 2, and the Celtics won them both. They found a way to win without him cooking, without him making shots. They made the right decision to give him the ball. And like you said, if he makes a couple of those games out of reach far sooner, we're talking about how great the reads were. Tatum had a nasty pass to him. I think it was behind the back on a drive, and he just smoked it. Smoked another one at the end, with 4 minutes left. It's just not in character for him. I trust he'll be back. I know he was rough last postseason. The idea is him not to have as much workload with Porzingis there. When Porzingis is back, hopefully next round, he should have a little bit fresher legs. Also, not for nothing, if they win on Wednesday, he'll get a little bit of time off at least. A little time to relax, kick the feet up, go with the Miami outfit again. I'm in.
Needs it. He needs it. He needs the rest. I don't think Joe. Look, we're 2-0 in the new bucket hat, which is great. You know, I did do a hat inventory check just to see how many losses we can withstand from a hat perspective, and I think we're going to be okay as long as the Celtics don't go full bozo mode on us. Cornet was excellent tonight, man. He was excellent in game 1 as well, where they dominated the rim protection. I thought he was better than Al tonight, more impactful. Again, like expectations, and then also workload when they were out there. I don't know why they were trying to switch Al as much as they did. They didn't. I don't think they needed to. It's funny, like I feel like everybody wanted them to switch so much last game, and they did. And Donovan Mitchell torched them at times. I didn't think they needed to go to a switch everything lineup tonight. You play drop with Horford, kind of rest some of those legs, and they went to drop with Cornet. And then the defense I thought was kind of good in those minutes. He's been really solid, man. I was confident this was going to be a good Cornet series. Really good in game 1, really good in game 4. Mixed up results in games 2 and 3, but that's okay. Like, to quote the great CLNS guy, Bobby Manning, he's your third center. And he's playing as your second center. He's been totally fine. This is the conversation everyone's having and I need to have with you. Why are we not seeing Xavier fucking Tillman? Don't know what's going on there. Because,
No.
we have to protect Al from himself. We have to have released I don't think he's playing bad relative to the expectations I have for him. Like, yeah, obviously you want the shots to go in, but I know that Al can't play 38 minutes against the Cavs last game, play a switching defense against someone like Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland, and then offensively be super heavily involved as well. And then it's a night on, night off series where none of the games in this series are going to have multiple days rest in there. You need to help him from himself. We saw Tillman for 14 or 11 minutes in game 2, and he was awesome in 7 minutes. He played with Al in that lineup. Didn't see him again. The Tatum at the 5 thing I've been screaming about. Tatum's guarding. Well, I'll ask you about Tillman first. Why are we not seeing Tillman?
I don't know. You mentioned game 2. He had a really nice stretch. Thought the defense looked great for that 7 minutes or so he was in the game. And it was a game where the Celtics were reeling and he was a stabilizing force. Maybe they don't trust him under the basket as much. That's all I can think of. I think they do a really good job of maximizing Cornet on the offensive end, so he's still a two-way player with the pick and roll and his ability to catch lobs and finish. I don't know if Tillman has the same verticality where they can just throw it up to him and he'll catch it or, dunk it right away. But Cornet has been extremely reliably shot like 70-something% from the field this year, and I loved the growth he showed on offense. He's just somebody that's nails. You mentioned Bobby Manning saying he's like the third string center. The great thing about Cornet is you really can't go through and think back and be like, yeah, that game, I noticed him because he sucked. No, that doesn't happen. You either don't notice him or you notice him for the right reasons. And with Tillman, I don't think he's got enough burn with this team, which could be another reason why Missoula didn't play him. You saw like with Sam Hauser last year, he was someone that got spot minutes. He's valuable because he can make threes. But in the playoffs in 2023, he didn't get any run because I don't think Joe trusted him yet. I don't think Tillman has earned Joe's trust, in short. I think that's really like the scope on that one.
That has to be it. And what's frustrating is, why did we not see him more in the regular season then? Like when we're getting down the stretch and we're resting guys, Porzingis was out for a bit, basically we were running 4 of the top 6 at most for like the last 5 weeks of the season, it felt like. And Tillman just didn't get in there. And it's like, I understand the perspective now, being concerned of throwing him in for trust reasons, but it's like, why did we not deal with him earlier in the season? Also, the type of guy you've traded for. We've seen what Tillman can do on film. We've seen him play in the Lakers series last season. He can play against an Evan Mobley, play drop coverage. You can switch onto especially a night like tonight where there's no Donovan Mitchell, go to a switch everything lineup with Tillman instead. And I guarantee he's for Horford right now, he's going to hold up better. Yes, he doesn't give you the same vertical spacing as Cornet. He's just a different player. He's really good in the short roll. He's really good in the floater range. He can make nice passes from there as well. We know how I feel about the corner 3 attempts from Xavier Tillman, but who knows? He all he could have done is be 0 for 4 from 3, just like Al Horford, right? So
true.
It is odd, and it doesn't need to be for a ton of minutes, man. Like, he played, the amount of minutes that he played in game 2 was fine. I thought what's weird is that he played that full 7-minute stint and was cooked after that. And then he played 4 in the second half, then we didn't see him since. It's like 7 minutes was probably too long to throw him out there to begin with in a switch everything thing. I'm just not understanding the usage because that made sense to see him in that game. He was good-ish, good enough for where now it's like, Horford's breaking down, Joe. Can we see Tillman? I don't know. I want to say I expect to see Tillman in game 5, but I'm not sure why I would think that.
So I don't think they want to play with fire, but at the same time, I think it's a good spot for him to show up and get some burn. I think there's the weird Joe doesn't really know how to use him thing. And maybe it's a little bit on Joe, where he just doesn't feel confident enough in his use of Tillman to put him out there. And he doesn't want to put X in a bad position to get killed by the media or the fans if he doesn't fit well. But
just 5 minutes, 3 minutes, 4 minutes, a couple of minutes.
Exactly.
See how it
and
goes.
They traded for him. You mentioned it earlier. They traded for him knowing about the playoff experience he had with Memphis. He was tasked with guarding Anthony Davis. Like you mentioned, he had to guard Jokic before, I believe. He's somebody they should be able to trust to play defense, especially on Mobley, who's like plywood, as Jack called him. Like he's just not
soft.
that dominant. He's not as dominant as other big guys you might see. He's no Joel Embiid. He's not Hartenstein being a dog underneath. Like I just put Hartenstein and Embiid in the same comparison. How about that?
Hey, I don't know,
But
man.
seriously, he's not
been pretty good in this playoffs. So
the flip shot, never miss. Just left hand inside the free throw line, just every time.
Yeah, this comment from Bob here. You don't want to mess with Al's confidence. We know AP's coming back. You need Al down the line. I'm not really concerned about that with Horford. Like, he's such a professional at this point. And you're still going to play Horford 24 minutes. Like, how many minutes did he play tonight? He
29.
played 28, 29 minutes, man. That's fine. The problem is he played 38 2 days ago. And that felt like now the freshness of Horford with this every night on, every night off as the starting center has come. Like, it's just hurting them. And that's to be expected. And it's like, I feel like they could... we're going to go in circles here because it's like, what's Joe really going to do? But from that perspective, from a confidence thing, I don't think it's something that we need to worry about with Horford because he's still going to be playing 24 minutes. He's still probably going to start. He's going to start and he's going to close. It's just, can we find 3 or 4 minutes in the first half and 3 or 4 minutes in the second half with whether it's Tillman at the 5, and now the other piece of this thing driving me nuts, especially in this Cavs matchup, is why are we not seeing Tatum at the 5? Tatum is guarding Mobley. I'm not sure if it's a primary matchup, but Tatum has been guarding Mobley for like the majority of this series, it feels like, especially the last 2 games. And Tatum's doing an incredible job, which we'll get to him broadly, but like the defense he's playing on Mobley, coming across and helping. And that just means Horford's on the perimeter. I understand that they've got him on Okoro at times, and he's a non-shooter. But even Okoro is driving past Al, and like, if Al's not going to be at the rim, and he's going to be on the perimeter, and they're not going to guard him on the other end, that's a problem. Not only is he not hitting these shots, they're not guarding him. And so it's like, it doesn't actually matter if the person who can shoot or not. If they're not going to guard him, then he's not providing you anything offensively. Tatum at the 5, you can switch everything, and then offensively, you're just going to have a ridiculous amount of weapons out there. And like tonight, when the Cavs were killing you from the 3-point line, if you start switching everything, am I really worried about Mobley switching onto Derek White from the perimeter? Maybe. But like, if that starts to become a real problem, then we can have that conversation. But Tatum at the 5 needs to be something, like should have been something they tried. Joe's fucking with me at this point because he put Tatum at the 5 for the last 20 seconds of the game when they were trying to get more speed or better free throw shooters out there. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me, Joe. Whether it's Derek, Drew, Jalen, Jason, the last guy in that lineup is a question. Pritchard's been unbelievable. Hauser's been kind of tough in this series. I think you can go Brissett here. If you're going to go to a switch everything, I think you could. Like, again, if they're not going to be guarding Horford, they're not going to be guarding Brissett. You may as well get like Brissett's offensive rebounding and defensive intensity. He's not going to be getting blown by on the perimeter just the way that Brissett is. So just for another few minutes.
I didn't even think of that. I didn't even think of Brissett.
Hey, man.
And I'm a Brissett guy. I like Brissett.
600 minutes this year. He's been totally competent, and the Cavs are small, dude. He can come out there, be 6'8", strong and athletic, and just be Bristog.
One thing I've been just like hammering all season doesn't look like it's gonna come true, but I've just been like, I feel like Brissett can go out there and have like an O'Shea Brissett playoff game. Like there will be an O'Shea Brissett game. He had that kind of energy in his debut. Home opener against Miami, comes out. Celtics are kind of reeling. I think they were down 5. Checks in for a free throw, gets an offensive rebound off the free throw as his first play as a Celtic. He turns the game on his head. That was an unbelievable debut for him. I love the energy he brought. Unfortunately, like lately when he gets in games, I don't think he's been very good at finishing around the rim.
Correct.
So I think that plays into it. Kind of like when we talked about Cornet versus Tillman. I don't know if they really trust it. What up, Adam Jones?
Yeah,
I don't know if they really trust, the Brissett finishing, catch and finishing, but he can definitely get up for lobs. If they want to throw alley-oops to Brissett, he can jump. He can dunk. He does super cool dunks. So I would be interested to see. I'm curious what they do, but I like Tatum at the 5. I do like it.
Tatum at the 5.
I just think maybe they're not confident in his screens compared to somebody like Cornet, but Tatum is somebody that they praised his screen setting after game one or game 2, whenever he was getting killed. And they were like, you don't know ball. You don't realize the things he's doing other than shooting. Screens are one of the things they pointed at. And I like him as a role man. I think it makes it really difficult on the defense. They have to really commit to somebody. and one of the two players in the action is going to get a good look. So yeah, why not do it? I think it's a good call.
They really should have tried it, and now it doesn't feel like they're going to try it because they're up 3-1, and it's like we're getting through these things one way or another. It feels like today's game feels terrible. They end up winning the game by 7. It didn't actually get below 5, I don't think, at any point. Late. The Cavs did take the lead, but that was a thing that did happen, but late they did hold them off. Maybe not due to anything that they specifically did to control their own destiny. But yeah, Tatum's, according to Bob in the chat here, 1.7 on points per possession per screens.
Yeah.
And with Brissett, yes, he's not a spacer, and if you kick to him, you don't necessarily want him shooting. But something that he's really good at is he'll cut when someone drives, or he'll drive the closeout and just launch himself at the rim, or pass. They needed an injection of force and energy today. You knew that they were going to come out and play a little bit like that today, and they unfortunately did. But yeah, I don't know. I'm probably grasping at straws. I don't think that we're going to see Brissett. But I do think it would work. Again, this does not need to be like an extended stretch. It's just 4 minutes of high intensity, switch everything. You've got Tatum, Jalen, Brissett out there. That's enough rebounding. That's enough defense. That's a lot of, like you said, a lot of size. That's plenty, dude. I really think that you could kind of overwhelm this Cavs team. It's like Mobley, Dean Wade, Tristan Thompson. That's the size out there. Everyone else is tiny compared to these guys. So I think Joe's letting them off the hook by not going to a faster, smaller lineup.
Tristan Thompson, by the way, another game where he's made an impact. Came in,
yeah, man.
Offensive rebounds, couple dunks. Let's be serious, please, Celtics. This was a game that coming in, I know we talked about insurance already, but just absolutely terrifying spot because it really was, as stupid as it sounds, a can't lose spot. Mitchell's out. Mitchell has been the only guy on the Cavs, not only in this series, but the back end of the Magic series, that could do anything on offense. In order for the Celtics to have lost this game, which they didn't, thank goodness, you were going to have to get performances from these other guys. And you did kind of get them. And those guys may carry some confidence over into Game 5, but they're not carrying that confidence into a Game 5 when it's 2-2. They're still down 3-1. And they have a bigger hole to dig out of instead of being on even ground with you. And that's huge. If they had dropped this game, disaster. There would have been a lot of sweat. There would have been a lot of Celtics can't close games talk. There would have been a lot of they don't know how to play in the fourth quarter. Tatum can't create, blah, blah, blah. You don't want to see them in the clutch. We kind of avoid that. Because when it comes down to it, I hated the fourth quarter. They did buckle down. You mentioned, didn't get it within 5. It got to 5. That was it. They converted, ended the game. That was the end of it. They didn't play around any further. So shout out to them for that.
Yep. Just in the chat, try not to spoil the OKC Dallas game for me. I'm gonna watch that after the game. Okay. No one knew, so don't feel bad if you have. But if you could limit the comments on that game in the chat, I would greatly appreciate it. Let's go positive here.
Lots of positive.
Jrue Holiday.
That's where I would go.
Wow. This is a pretty impressive 2-game stretch here. He had 18 points last game. But today, I thought he put on a pretty spectacular defensive performance. The way that I don't even know if I call it screen navigation. It was just screen explosion, dude. The screen setter, Mobley, he was getting pushed back by Jrue, and then this ball handler was just having to take steps back towards midcourt. They could not deal with Jrue Holiday in those actions. The amount of times Karis LeVert or Garland ended up having to retreat, or Strus retreat with the ball in their hands because Jrue Holiday was in their shorts. No, don't worry, Bob. It's not your fault. I should have said that at the top of the podcast. But yeah, he was incredible. And then offensively, this is 2 games in a row where he's been nails on around the paint, and the 3-point shot has been pretty consistent actually throughout the playoffs. Like that's been the one thing that has still been mostly there. He's been able to hit open threes, but he goes 4 for 8. And I've been talking about his rebounding all playoffs. Like he's making plays, defensive rebounding, and he's good for like at least 1 or 2 offensive rebounds per game. Like 4 stocks today. I mean, we'll see what happens going forward, but like this is very encouraging for a guy that has struggled in the playoffs historically and in this playoff so far. To see him find this in the 2 games in a row, I'm like, yes, okay, if we can get some version of this Drew Holiday in this playoffs, that means something for this Celtics team.
Yeah, I love Drew Holiday. I think Drew Holiday is quickly becoming my favorite Celtic. It's like him and Peyton Pritchard just kind of sneaking up the ranks. But he's somebody I wrote about, I think before this round started or maybe in the Miami series, and there's all the chatter of playoff Drew. When the Celtics made the trade back in October, all the Bucks fans were like, enjoy him in the spring. Guy can't play in the playoffs. And you kind of got some of that to start. A little shaky. Percentages weren't great. But you mentioned the defense. It all starts there for him. He was still taking on the tough matchups, being physical. I mean, if you just look in the first 2 minutes of this game, he rips off 2 steals right away, sets the tone. He's in the right spots. He's roaming. He's reading the passes. He's making it hell for the Cavs. And it's really translated well on offense. Really, I think the last 5 games for Drew have been pretty good. Let's see. Game 5 against Miami, 10 points on 3 of 5, 2 of 4 from 3. Game 1, he has 14 points, 6 rebounds, 6 of 14, so just a shot under 50% from the field. Game 2 was a stinker. Game 3, 18 points on 7 of 10, 3 of 4. And then tonight, 4 of 8 from 3 for what, 16? 6 of 11 from the field. He's really starting to get a little bit of feet underneath him. Love it. I love what I'm seeing from Drew. I love that you're getting offensive production from him. He was the steady presence all season. He was somebody that was asked to join the team, didn't take on a lot of offensive responsibility. He just was asked, play hard on defense, be ready when they kick the ball to you. And he did. He made a lot of corner threes this year. Best corner 3-point shooter in the league. And now in the playoffs, he's carrying over. He's finding his footing. He's getting comfortable. This game in the fourth quarter, the man came out. I want to say he was responsible for 10 straight points towards the beginning, made a couple threes, took Garland from the corner in the post back down, hit Cornet on the cut, who got to the free throw line. Won't be in the box score if you look for an assist. But he just did a great job of controlling the game and building off the momentum that Pritchard put together at the end of the third quarter. Brass balls, PP. I wrote about him on, Sunday, yesterday for Celtics blog. I wrote about just the one basket he made in that game 3, the big pull-up that you guys reacted to on playback.
Yeah.
You know the balls that takes?
Dude.
You're like the 8th guy on the team. Game's kind of reeling, unraveling, getting out of hand, pull up from the logo, bottoms. This game gets to the free throw line, then comes down, has Dean Wade on him, hits him with a crossover, does the little 2-foot step back like Harden, doesn't even hit the rim straight through. Celtics go up into the fourth, 10 points ahead. Those 2 guys were huge tonight. I just loved what we saw from them. Derek White being 1 of 6 doesn't really feel as bad when you have 27 points from Drew Holiday and Peyton Pritchard.
Peyton Pritchard. Brass balls. I like this nickname for Peyton Pritchard. He waved Tatum off on that Dean Wade possession as well. And I am with you, man. I've been so impressed with Pritchard in these playoffs. I was someone who was like, I think Hauser's going to be the guy that's going to be more playable in the playoffs just from like a size perspective. But it's been the complete opposite. Pritchard has been consistently impactful every single night, despite not making like a ton of shots. He's not making shots, but he's made back-to-back games, maybe 2 of the biggest shots. We've got both of them here. We'll start with last game. We've got the playback thing right here for if anyone's missed this.
Yeah, you're right.
This is
you're
awful.
Right.
But this is
This
is bad, man. Doesn't
this
matter.
is good. I love this little.
Oh, Pritchard! Fucking Peyton Pritchard! Let's go!
Holy shit!
Unreal.
Monster nuts.
Spoonie, the man. Seriously though, when he takes that shot, do you like feel uneasy? Like when he takes that, I'm like, okay, green light.
No. He's been doing that since his rookie year, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Rookie year, man, he's been making those sorts of shots. He has range out there. He hit the end of quarter buzzer beater in, was it game 1 as well?
The heave. Yeah.
Yeah.
Little transition pull-up.
For anyone that hasn't been watching watching games with us on playback, there's the link in the chat here. But yeah, and then also we had tonight's shot as well.
Pritchard, Cleveland out of fouls, a step back 3, splash! What is...
He's got it, man. He's got it. And this is the type of guy that he is mentality-wise. And you have to be a little psycho to be really good in the playoffs, especially someone like Pritchard. Like, look at TJ. He's just a different version of TJ McConnell, man. Confidence and like a relentless will, dude, to come out here. How many minutes does Pritchard play again tonight? 20. The minutes are going up for him, dude. He played 26 minutes tonight. Ends up 3 for 4 from 3. I mean, that's what you fucking need from this guy. Another offensive rebound. It's like every night he's giving you an offensive rebound. I'm just trying to find his numbers for the playoffs here because I think he's playing like 20 plus minutes a night. And
should be.
Yeah, where was he at? Pritchard is at 23 minutes a night. And Hauser's down to 15. And it was kind of the reverse in the regular season. But Pritchard defensively has been better than Hauser. In this matchup, it's tough because there's so much screen navigation to deal with between Mitchell and Garland with the way that they hit pull-up threes and then get into the lane, which is just not Hauser's game. He can hold up in isolation, and the Heat kind of went at Hauser, running him off ball screens as well. But Pritchard, he can get around the screens, and then he's going to dig into you on the defensive end, and then he's going to provide you this on offense. Like, I don't see a world where he gets played off the floor until we get to like a Nuggets matchup.
Yeah, even then, like you mentioned TJ McConnell. These are two smaller point guards, white guys, I guess, that are bringing the Bulldog mold back. It's very rare to see like a under 6'2" point guard get real minutes in the NBA now. It feels like everybody's 6'3" and up, have to be able to switch on to bigger guys. And McConnell and Pritchard are two guys that won't back down. They're not afraid of anybody. And Pritchard has shown an unbelievable amount of grit in this playoffs. Just like taking the confidence aside, hitting the glass the way he has, coming up with timely offensive rebounds. He's not really getting targeted on defense the way you would think. I know you mentioned Hauser getting cooked every once in a while, but man, I am so thrilled that this guy is on the Celtics. I'm so thrilled that he's under contract for 4 years, making $8 million annually. If seriously, then nobody wants to see this. Nobody wants this to happen. But if there was a situation where he had to be the starting point guard in this team, if Drew Holiday and Derek White did not exist, I think they'd be okay. Like,
they would.
I'm not rooting for it. I don't want to see. I don't want to see if I'm right. But I think they would still be one of the best teams in the conference and probably should have a final shot if he was just the guy starting. Who wouldn't trust him?
They'd be fine. They'd be okay, but it'd be similar to this Porzingis thing. Like, they would be worse still. I mean, we just spent how long waxing poetic about Drew Holiday. Like, as good as Pritchard has been, I mean, he can't be destructive on defense in the way that Drew Holiday has been.
Facts.
He can't punish mismatches in the way that Drew Holiday can. But he's been better than Derek White in this series.
Yeah, and that's okay. Derek White needs a break.
Is it okay?
I think Derek White's going to find it.
What's going on?
Cleveland has done a lot to take him out. Like, they have really put an emphasis on that. Jack was talking to me about it. He was talking to some people, and they had pointed out to him, look, they are just blitzing him, electing to leave Horford open instead, and those looks are getting more and more difficult. Like, Derek White only took 6 shots in this game. I think he had 15 in game 1. Like, whichever game it was, he had 10, absolute heater. He was getting easy looks. He had to create for himself in game 1. He hit a step back over Sam Merrill. Like, he was in on fire mode in that third quarter. But to get going, he's just getting rhythm shots, stepping into threes in transition, and Cleveland's not really letting him do that. I don't know if as the playoffs go on, he's going to be allowed to do that. It depends on who they play. But for these guys to be able to step up while he's having a little bit of an off stretch takes the pressure off. If Pritchard's not doing what he's doing, you're hearing a lot more chatter about Derek White. They're like, man, Derek White really cost in that game. Or, he needs to get back to the level he was at, or they're going to be at high risk to be eliminated, or whatever you may be. But these other guys being able to step up really allows that to just kind of go somewhat unnoticed. I mean, we're going to talk about it, but the first take is it going to be like, Derek White, what are you doing?
It is funny. You're, as a player like that, you are in like Tatum. His existence from a media perspective sucks. Like he can't really win. It feels like unless he like is perfect. But then like Derek White, he goes nuclear in the Heat series. He goes nuclear in game 1. It's like, oh my God, Derek White, he's the greatest player of all time. He's never going to sign a contract extension in the offseason because if he gets to free agency, he's going to get $50 million per year. But then he has 3 bad games in a row, and it's like, no one's going to... He's Derek White. We don't expect him to be an all-star, except for when he is. And then it's like, here he's back. So it's a great point. The thing with Derek that's been weird to me, it hasn't felt anywhere near as impactful defensively as I'm used to. Like, when's the last, he had a really awesome block in game 3. Yeah, but like the rim protection that we got used to all season long, haven't really seen many of those plays. He just hasn't felt impactful to me on that end in the way. He hasn't been terrible, but he hasn't been nearly as good as I think. Like, he's going to be first or second team all defense most likely. And then the thing for me that's been bad for him has been the quick decisions. Like, they'll run a screen, like him and Tatum will run with that small action, and like Tatum will slip it or Jalen will slip it, and you just got to make that pass immediately. And he's just like waiting because he doesn't trust the pass, which is just letting the defense set, and he passes it, and it's like, well, we just wasted 5 seconds, and now we've got 9 seconds on the shot clock, and now we get Tatum dancing around for
Tatum
the
watch
remaining 8
this.
seconds. Which I'm not like. I think Tatum's been put in some bad spots. We haven't even talked about Tatum yet, but Derek White, it is weird to me, like some of the little things that I'm like, even when his shot's not going, he's not doing that stuff as well, and so I would like to see him get back on track from like an everything else perspective, because that's why I originally fell in love with Derek White for, was all the little things, all the winning plays. Hello, people in the background there. That's why I fell in love with Derek White initially. And so I would like to see him get on track from that. The wonky floaters, the king of the wonky floater, I'm not sure if they look worse because they're not going in, but they look awful right now. And it's probably because they're not going in. But yeah, so he's struggled, I thought, like pretty immensely the last couple of days. I think he'll find it, but he has gone through this stuff in the playoffs previously.
Yeah, he wasn't really the greatest in the 2022 run. He had game 1 of the finals where he lit the Warriors up in the fourth quarter. Him and Horford like shook hands and became, I don't know. I got nothing. I have no metaphor. You could say, what is it? The robot that's 5, Voltron. But yeah, I got nothing. Bad metaphor.
No, that's good. I used that Voltron reference in my wedding speech, so I think it's a great reference. I really appreciate it.
All right, we're back. But no, like I think we've seen Derek White have moments in the playoffs where he isn't great. Thought he had some moments last year where, I mean, obviously the putback against Miami is one that's burned into people's brains, but he was really, really great in the Hawks series last year. Not that anyone cares. I don't care. The Hawks series is glorified regular season, but he did have like a monster game at the Garden. Like he has showed that he can play. I think it's important, regardless if the ball is going in, like you said, that he continues to bring it on defense. I'm a drooling idiot. I don't always notice the defensive stuff, so it kind of slipped past me, but I will absolutely take your word for it. I don't doubt it at all. But I believe that Water's going to find its level with him. I think he's just been too good all season. He's gotten good recognition for it. Like, everybody's talking about him for all defense. He had the All-Star campaign behind him back in like December, January. So he's somebody that just has the pedigree, I think, at this point, that he can play ball.
I think he'll find it again. The good news is we're up 3-1, and that's kind of a death note, it feels like. They better fucking win game 5. But
I agree.
We haven't talked about the Jays really at all. We'll start with Tatum. He had the exact same shooting line as he did last game. Like 33 points, 11 for 25, 2 for 8 from 3, 9 for 9. I'm not sure I've ever seen that before. That's like incredibly weird. I thought he was just generally quite good, quite excellent. The thing that I'm really focused on with him right now, and I know you're on this with pull-up threes, or you have pull-up three thoughts. He's taking bad pull-up threes. Like, he has to take some. He's not a good enough mid-range shooter to take more mid-range shots. He can't go to the rim. He's going to the rim a lot. Like, he's going to the rim way more than he was in regular season. Back-to-back games, 9 for 9 from the free throw line. 8 threes compared to 25 field goal attempts. So a lot of that's coming from inside the arc. He's like considering. It feels like he's got you in his head, where he's like, don't take the pull-up three, and then he thinks he should take it, and then he decides against it. But then the offense is kind of broken down at that point, and then he takes it anyway. So it's like, just take it. Just be confident in a shot that has been something that's been very powerful for the Celtics in the playoffs for the entirety of your career. Like, he's got to hunt that shot a little bit more. I'm not saying take more, but he's like hesitant on it from what I can tell. It's like when he's confident in taking these shots, it looks like they're going in, and then he ends up taking this like 3-4 second shit on the shot clock. Take it 4 seconds earlier. Like, actually say, okay, this is a chance to take it, and actually take it. Don't half take it. Take it.
Yeah. There was the one he made today, and I was like, this dude is the new king of the no, yes three. He has taken the crown from our fallen Marcus, and wears it proud. Made one, I think, to end the half, but man, do I hate the Tatum pull-up threes. But besides that, I don't have much to hate on him today. I think he is deserving of the flowers today. I thought he really set the tone at the beginning of the game. His 2 makes, I think, came in the first quarter, just like they did last game too. So he did a great job just getting the boys going. I love Tatum's decision-making in the second quarter, right before halftime. Yeah. When the Celtics were kind of reeling, lead was down to 1. They come out of a timeout. Tatum, back-to-back possessions, pick-and-roll ball handler, hits the man Luke for a pair of under the basket. One was a dunk. One of them might have been a layup. Just back-to-back baskets, easy looks to calm everything down. That's the type of thing we need from Tatum. There was a stretch last game, too, I think. Or maybe there was another game in this series, I swear, where he took it upon, it might have been last game. Game's getting kind of close. 3 possessions to end, I think, the third quarter. Drive, fouled, 2 free throws. Stupid pull-up 3, then drives again on the next possession. He goes 2 for 3 on the decision-making there. He's kind of getting a bit more mature. He's reading the room a bit better, and I am very, very happy with what I've seen from him. And the aggression on the glass is something, a little Purple Heart for Jason Tatum going to war for the gang, helping to finish off those defensive possessions. Celtics are rebounded them by what, 16 today? 15? A lot.
Yeah, 48 to 32. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, they've been dominating the rebounding battle in this matchup, which Evan Mobley, man. Plywood's a good name for him. Like, Tatum's destroying you on the boards every night, which is not good enough. But yeah, you're absolutely right, man. And that's that. Just what made Game 2 so disappointing is that, like, Tatum defensively and from a rebounding perspective wasn't there, and that's like maybe I don't want to say the most important thing, because like you need his offense obviously for him to be the guy who he is, but like that's what makes him special. And the last 2 games, I can honestly live with this efficiency from Tatum for the rest of the playoffs. Yeah. If you're gonna, I do think it's gonna find its level. Like, he's gone 2 for 8 2 games in a row. If he just switches that mentality to hunt it a little more than just take it when he has to, I think he ends up going 3 for 8. And then we feel completely different. And like, that's all he has to do is make one more, and he's at 37.5% from 3, and it's a completely different game. If he's going to get to the line this much, 8 3-point attempts per game when he's playing this many minutes, it's actually not that much. Like, he's not overdoing it. And this is the playoffs. Like, there are just going to be possessions where you need the guy to take the tough shots. Like, you look at Anthony Edwards fucking yesterday. I mean, all of those are just going in for him. Like, statistically, Tatum was a better pull-up 3-point shooter than Mitchell and Anthony Edwards in the regular season. It's just on these small sample sizes, sometimes they don't go. And so I do think it's going to find its level at some point. He is close. Like, 2 for 8, give me 3 for 8. and then we're talking about a 36-point night, and we're like closer to 60% true shooting. So yeah, it's a little bit of cope. I'm like, just make one more every time, easy. But
it is easy.
Yeah,
do it,
just do
loser.
it.
Yeah. I do like the aggression going to the basket today. One of the things Jack and I talked about, which if people care, it'll be up on the channel tomorrow
yes,
at 5 a.m.
Yes.
I don't want to say hesitance. We'll say lack of 3-point shots for the Celtics. Celtics only took 32 in this game. Cleveland took 48. And they made it work. 24 trips to the line. Pretty good. Tatum going inside. I mean, they got in the bonus too, so that helps. Yep. But getting themselves to the line was nice today. Shout out to the man, Jalen. I think he smoked his first 2 free throws, but then went 7 of 7 after.
Yep. Hey, he's like the last few games since the Tyler Hero headbutt to the elbow. He's only missed 2 free throws, I believe. Maybe it's 4. I don't know. But he's kind of found the free throws a little bit here, which maybe we just pivot to Jalen now. Kind of a Jaylen Brown game in a variety of ways. We got evil Jalen, it felt like, at times tonight. And but it's like 27 points on 9 for 15, 2 for 3 for 3, 7 for 9 from the free throw line, 8 boards. But the evil Jalen part is the 5 turnovers. And it's just like, that was like the only reason that the Cavs were in the game. First half, Cavs have 25 3-point attempts. Celtics have 10 turnovers. A bunch of them came from Jalen, and a bunch of those 3-point makes came off turnovers and transition opportunities. So it was like Jalen was kind of efficient scoring, but even late, remember, he ends up making those. He didn't get free throws for that shot. He had that weird leg kick out thing. So I think it was a kind of an everything game for Jalen. Hyper efficient. Again, he's been like insanely efficient in this series specifically, but for the playoffs. I literally, Andrew Graham in the chat, I literally just said Tatum had 5 turnovers, and that was the evil Jalen thing. And it can't happen because that's like very destructive, and that's how you lose playoff games. They're just lucky that the Cavs aren't that good. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Celtics won the rebounding battle, like we said, by 16. Let's just say for every 2 free throws, we'll give them an extra shot. So they would have been outshot 96-90. How does that happen with the rebound battle? Well, you gave them the ball a billion times. And the Celtics transition defense in this series hasn't been fantastic. It's been something people have bitched about. Max Strus got going with a couple threes in the first half. Maybe want to put my head in the microwave. And it was because you returned the ball over and they were running and nobody was picking up in transition. And then it was like, oh my God, I'm watching the Miami Heat again. And then you had Karis LeVert's little like, hey, remember when I scored 51 points on you? Might be back today. And it was just because they were getting easy looks in transition. Take care of the ball. Not that hard. Yeah. Really not that hard. If you just played this way, this is a great back pocket magic trick you can have if you're the Celtics. Everybody wants to run you off the 3-point line. Miami tried to do it. Cleveland has done it a couple times this series. You went 2-0 against Cleveland on the road. Both games, they kind of tried to make you play like this. You won them both. You took a bunch of free throws today. If you just cleaned up the turnovers, you would have blew them out. Yeah. Take away 6 turnovers, and it's an 8-turnover game. You still turn the ball over more times than Cleveland. You probably win by 15, 20 points, and that's without having to bomb away at threes. And I have no problem with the threes. I think the math works out. But if they're going to give you mismatches inside against Garland, by all means, drive. What do I care? As long as you do it under control.
Yeah, dude. The Nuggets don't shoot a lot of threes because they're insanely efficient on 2-point shots. And if they're going to give you that and you're going to be able to get to the line, then you're going to be efficient at those spots. It's a fair point from Andrew. Apologies. I thought you were talking about Jalen, not JT. We didn't mention Jason's turnovers. Tatum had 4 turnovers, but he played 44 minutes. And Jalen had 5 turnovers in 34 minutes. Like, yes, Tatum had too many turnovers. That number should be 3. But if you're going to play 34 minutes and have that level of usage, it's actually not that many turnovers when you're playing 44 minutes. It's kind of what happens in the playoffs. Like, Tatum broke that record for most turnovers in a playoff run. That's because he played an insane amount of minutes, insane amount of possessions. The next guy behind him was LeBron. It's like, that's just kind of like, look at Luka Doncic's turnovers. The guys that have the ball a lot are going to have more turnovers. So I'm not really that worried about because the decision making from Tatum has been super good. As you said, We are at our best, it feels like, when Tatum's just initiating from the top, though. Like, not just setting a screen at the top and then getting downhill and playmaking out of that. Like, that's where it feels like he's the most comfortable. It feels like he can get to the pull-up three from there as well. Sprinkling all the other stuff. But you're right, man. The first half, we were up whatever it was, but we had those 10 turnovers, and it was like, that's the only reason they're in this game, dude.
Yep.
And that it's like the playoffs, it's so hard to score, especially for this Cleveland team with no Donovan Mitchell. As soon as they gave them that slither with those turnovers, the game is now different for the rest of the game because they've got confidence, they've got rhythm. And even if you clean up the turnovers like you do in the second half, that's already part of the game. If you allow them to get comfortable, that's when Max Strus ends up 5 for 5 from 3, even when the turnovers start to evaporate.
I despise Max Strus.
He's the worst, dude. He's so annoying with the fouls and the complaining.
This was a moment in history. I told Jack this because he was there. He got to witness one of the great palms up guys, Max Strus, perform in front of the palms up GOAT LeBron, who was courtside at this game. Yes. And I mean, LeBron must have been very proud to see the complaining done by Max Strus in this game. Max Strus who picked up a technical. Max Strus who last game took a take foul on Jalen, and then they called the take foul, and then he was incredulous. He was like, "What? No, I didn't." The game was over. The game was over at the time. It was like an intentional foul at the end of the game. He's like, "No, wait, what? No, I didn't foul him." It's like, you literally did. You tried. You didn't right for breath. But man,
he's the worst.
You don't want to see him get going in transition. You absolutely don't. You don't.
He's got a serious trigger. Question for you. So LeBron James was there.
Hate him.
Thought that was weird. The fact that he's front row, like playing for the Lakers, free agent. He just loves it, man.
Wants it about him.
He loves it. He can't help himself. Tatum started a little slow. I swear LeBron turned up and Tatum cranked it up. I don't know, that he was trying to impress LeBron. Some guys see good-looking women on the sideline and they crank it up. Tatum sees stars on the sideline and he decided to crank it up in honor of LeBron James, it felt like, very early on there.
Yeah, so this was like a big sweat game. Because I was like, if they lose, everyone like Bleacher Reports to be like, LeBron was there. Celtics lost because of LeBron. I don't want to do that anymore. Respect, they made him leave early. Everyone was giving the Celtics fans shit for leaving early, which I get a kick out of that. It's like the Celtics played like the worst game ever in game 2.
Yeah.
Like those people should not only get to leave early, they should be compensated for their time. And they should get their money back. Like they should get a bonus for even sitting there for the time they did. But yeah, LeBron was there, left early. Rich Paul was there. I don't like Rich Paul, man.
No, they're all ridiculous.
He should be banned. He should be banned.
He can't. I mean, Savannah was wearing a hat that she no way she could see the game wearing that hat, man.
What is she?
It was over. Yeah, it's true.
She's probably heated. She had to go.
Yeah, I have to
think
go
she
to
wants to
another
go watch
basketball
a game in Cleveland.
Yeah, I got to go watch Cavs Celtics. No Donovan Mitchell. Are you kidding me, dude? That's not a proposition that I'm sure she was expected super excited about.
It's funny you mentioned this though, like thinking about like why would he be there? I mean, did he want it to be about him? Like, okay, so
right?
the way when I found out he was gonna be there, I was like, well, what's his motive? Because it's not like anybody thinks the Cavs are gonna win. It's not like he was going to like kind of like be like a triumphant figure and like, oh yeah, Cavs are favored, like they'll win, they'll put me on the screen, like I'll be on Bleacher Report. Like what happened is exactly what should have happened. And he left early, and like that was, I mean, who cares he left early? I'm just like breaking balls. But like what was he gonna get out of that?
I don't get it. He knows he knows I don't know. He knows it's about him. Yeah, we got Brandy. Tatum's mom's way cooler. Shout out him. Yeah, maybe I know from Bob in the chat they're trying to get Tatum to sign with Clutch before he signs $1 trillion deal in the offseason. But
please
don't.
Get Rich Paul. Keep him away from the fucking Celtics, will you?
Yes, please. Keep him away from the Celtics is a great thing to say. Ref stuff. Jalen's foul. That when it happened and they went to review it, I in the chat was like, they wouldn't eject Jalen for that, would they? because they have not really been consistent with anything. So I was like,
Clearly not.
shit, are they going to reject Jalen? I was like, and then it ends up being a common foul. Shout out Mark Davis in this game, who I was not familiar with your game, Mark Davis, because I thought we got a little bit of help today between that one and then the Horford one. I thought it shouldn't have been called a foul. That it was a game saving block. For which firstly, to go back to Horford, he did make one of the biggest plays in the game by getting that block on Garland. I was surprised they overturned it. I thought it shouldn't have been called live, but then I was quite surprised they overturned it. So we got 2 wins. But the Jalen one, not only was it not an ejection, it wasn't even a flagrant foul. Or it was just a straight-up common foul. Crazy.
They effectively found a way to make it like a tech, though, because they gave them, not that they shouldn't have, like it was the right call, but like I don't think the ball had been inbounded yet, so they fouled Strus, and the rule is like somebody gets to shoot free throws. So they did get a nice little boot. They found a way to compensate the Cavs without punishing the star, which I know people don't want to see, but this is also like a situation where Jamal Murray threw objects onto the court in game 2 and wasn't suspended.
Yeah,
now
no one's allowed to be in trouble for anything. If they didn't suspend Jamal Murray for throwing something on the court, and they didn't eject Embiid for trying to put Mitchell Robinson in a leg lock while he was jumping, then you can't exactly, because Strus did have his foot kind of all over his head, and Jalen didn't.
Strus is a rat.
He's the worst, dude.
I tweeted the picture of the giant rat from when Jack and I went to Vegas. It's they had like the Christmas setup. They had this gigantic rat made of flowers with a crown on. That's Max Strus, the grand rat.
I will say on that free throw that they gave him, like that was the ultimate Joe doesn't want to let guys get clean looks moment, because they subbed Garland in to take the free throw, and Joe was like, nope, he wasn't in the game. He's not allowed to take the free throw. And like Sam Merrill was the one who ended up taking the free throw and made it. But like to that point, Garland hadn't made a shot yet. And I'm like, Joe is locked in on some shit that I don't think matters that much. Like playing someone else at the center position. But as long as he's locked in to that, I'm happy for him. All right, we'll get out of here. I'll let you go to bed. Game 5, must win. Pretty obvious when you see what's happening in the Knicks Pacers series. That's going to go minimum 6 games. The Knicks are
go Pacers.
Dead. Yeah, are we going for the Pacers at this point? I'm like, do I want the Knicks to survive, or does it?
I hate the Knicks. They have the most insufferable fans. They have no idea how to act. I think we've talked about this. I despise these. These are the worst people on the planet. Hyperbole, yes, but I can't stand them. And I would love nothing more for them to lose in the second round. I've already got the tweet in my back pocket that I'm going to put up when they lose. But man, I hate them. And I like seeing Nesmith play well, even though if he plays against the Celtics, people will be pissed and he'll be annoying and maybe hurt somebody. But I'm very happy to see the Knicks go crashing out if they lose in the second round.
It would be beautiful to see after all the shit that they've talked. I was very much like,
we want Boston chance after winning not only in this series but against Philly.
They won game 2 in India against Indy, and it was we want Boston chance. I mean, they are the definition of not knowing how to act like you've been there before.
And then everyone's like, "Oh, you gotta feel so good for them." Like, no, don't tell me how to act. Don't tell me how to feel. I hate these people. I want them lottery every year. Unfortunately, our Pistons fell in the lottery. I want them to have Pistons luck in the lottery.
Yeah, the Knicks, enough. But I'm from do the Celtics prefer to match up with one or the other? I was preferring to match up with the Pacers, but the Knicks are just like, I don't know who's left. Like, maybe it's like if OG comes back in that Celtics series, then you probably lean Pacers. Again, similar to the Magic Knicks, Magic Cavs thing, I'm not sure there's a ton of difference between the Pacers and the Knicks going through. A lot of this feels like it's just, do the Celtics do the things that they can control? Do they turn the ball over 10 times in the first half and allow the Pacers to stay in the game, or the Knicks to stay in the game? Probably a couple of times. Anyway, we got 1 day off here. At home. 500 at the Garden, the Fortress.
No, 3-2. Give them the credit.
3-2. Okay, 3-2. Apologies. Are they?
Yeah,
Oh, true.
Game 1, Game 5,
Yeah,
Game
yeah,
1 this
yeah.
series.
Yeah. But I guess they're 500 going back like three seasons in the Garden.
Oh, damn, that too.
Yeah. But
Disgusting.
close this thing out. This is another must win. Before this game, I was like, play Tatum 44 minutes. It kind of feels like if he plays 44 minutes, they're probably going to win the game. And I don't think Al should play that much, not just because I want to save him, because he's not effective in those minutes, but load up the Drew Holiday big minutes. Jalen, Jason, treat this game like it's a fucking closeout game. I'm like an elimination game, and get rest for everybody. Get ready for the conference finals and stop. Please be serious. Please be serious for Game 5.
Yeah, you have the Mitchell layer to this too, where like,
yes,
I mean, if I had to guess, I think he plays Game 5, but then there's the part of me that's like, well, if I was the Cavs, would I really want to make him play in a game that probably doesn't matter at the end of the day?
Yeah.
But if you lose Game 5, then you kind of have to play him in a Game 6 because they're going back to Cleveland, playing in front of the home fans. Probably feel like you have a chance. You have to play Mitchell in that spot. Just don't give him an opportunity to go back on the floor. It's ridiculous.
I think that's a good place to end it. Thank you, everybody in the chat. Thank you, Sam, for joining us.
Of course,
on
anytime.
Another episode of Late Night. Make sure you check out How About Them Celtics. That episode will be up 5 a.m. East Coast time. Boots on the ground. Jack Simone's got all the juicy details. He can tell you how upset Joe Mazzulla was with them walking the ball up. Tatum had to take one step quickly over the half-court line to avoid an 8-second violation. Sam, good to see you. Celtics, please be serious. Win Game 5. Till next time, go Celtics.